Tuck yourself in bed, and let me tell a story.
Child of Light seeks to position itself as something of a fairy tale, following the adventures of a young girl named Aurora. Aurora has fallen victim to an unknown illness that causes her to enter a seemingly unbreakable sleep, yet she finds herself awakening in an outlandish fantasy world known as Lemuria. Lemuria is far from a magical, happy place, however. The moon, sun and the stars have been stolen by an evil presence, while creatures lurk and threaten in every area. Worse for Aurora, it transpires that her father, a duke in the real world, has fallen ill with worry over her deteriorating condition back home, his own life in danger of slipping away unless she can return to the real world and get back to him. This adds a bit of a Studio Ghibli twist to proceedings. Ghibli, of course, a studio famed for many works that centre on children trapped in strange worlds and left desperate to save their families. Although twee in many respects, such as the way in which nearly all the inhabitants talk in nursery rhyme fashion, the story operates on several levels and takes you through a number of emotions. It can be funny, sorrowful and heartwarming all at the same time, but regardless of its given angle, it's pretty much always charming. This is in no small way thanks to the delightful and quirky band of allies that Aurora brings together over Child of Light's 12 to 20 hour course. The world of Lemuria too is a charismatic star in its own right, owing to the magnificent painterly art style. Each new area of this 2D yet non-linear watercolour masterpiece is more gorgeous than the last, and there's a certain melancholy quality that carries throughout. Boring constantly left me with an exciting sense of wonder, but not only because of continually pleasing aesthetics, but because Child of Light never tells you which way you need to go. In any other game this could be considered a negative, yet there is a great finesse with which you're unconsciously channeled through to the right areas, and even if you take an unnecessary detour, there's always something to reward you for your curiousness. This encourages you to explore every nook and cranny, and doing so is never a chore thanks to Aurora's ability to fly, which is unlocked refreshingly early on. Flight won't find her everything, however, and this is where a friendly, sentient flame known as Igniculus comes in handy. Much as you can move Murphy around in Rayman Legends, you or a co-op partner can use Igniculus to open chests that lie just out of Aurora's reach, or blind enemies so that she can pass through unimpeded. If you touch an enemy, however, you'll be pulled JRPG style into a turn-based battle arena, and here the combat quickly became one of Child of Light's most absorbing facets for me. 2 members of your party will face up against 3 vicious beasties in a system that fuses classic elemental damage with a focus on timing and interruption. A bar at the bottom of the screen indicates the speed at which your party members and enemies can attack, and when your cursors hit the attack session, the red portion at the end of the bar, you're able to select your upcoming assault. If your cursor then hits the end of the bar, your character will perform your selected move, but if they get hit during this phase, they'll get interrupted and will lose their turn. Thankfully, the same is true for enemies. Hit them while they're winding up an attack, and you can avoid damage and give yourself a serious advantage. Working out the timings, particularly for boss fights, is tense fun, especially when you realise that many of the stronger attacks can take a good while to wind up. Thankfully, you can use Igniculus to slow enemies, blinding them as you can in general exploration, which is a vital tactic at times for making sure you land that interruption. He can also marginally heal your troops or replenish magic or his own power by collecting orbs freed by hitting the coloured bushes littered around the battle screen. As you'd expect, each of Aurora's party has their own different strengths and weaknesses. Rubella, for example, a jester looking for her brother, is an able healer but is also good for a quick attack. Finn is your battle mage with numerous elemental skills at his disposal. Oegnes is your tank, slowing attack but hard to beat, and there are a wealth of options to experiment with. Aurora too has her own uses, as the name Child of Light would suggest, with her light-powered attacks proving fatal for creatures of darkness. The ability to switch characters out adds another strategic layer, allowing you not only to deal with every enemy that can be thrown at you, but also fortify your dominance or allow you to be more defensive when you need to be. Leveling is a satisfyingly quick-fire process and complements Child of Light's shorter nature, rarely requiring as many as 2 fights to see your party members jump up a number. Each time they do, a skill point is earned for you to spend on their personal skill tree. There are a number of directions you can take with each, and it's fun to plot out and work towards the abilities that you want, while also incrementally boosting general stats along the way. A basic but effective crafting system also allows you to augment your character's trademark weapons with stat increases and elemental effects to help further dish out the damage. Underpinning the entire venture is one truly evocative original score that, for me, sits up there with the best works of Joe Hayashi. The soundtrack is suitably mournful, reflective, but is able to get your blood pumping when you're thrown into battle. Child of Light is simply a beautiful and poignant RPG that delivers brilliantly on every level. The visual style is constantly a delight, Aurora's whimsical journey through Lemuria is always charming and heartwarming, while the combat and quick-fire leveling offers enough options and complexity to remain fun over the entire campaign. Its length could be the only point of contention for hardened RPG fanatics, but its pacing is pitch perfect, never saying or showing more than it needs to and ending at a point that feels natural for the story. For me, it goes a long way in arguing that RPGs don't always have to be 60-hour epics to be worthwhile, because Ubisoft Montreal's wonderful creation really is worthy of anybody's time.